Good afternoon. My name is Ben Spade. I'm the organizing director of Teamsters Local 728 here in Georgia. We are here today to discuss a concern for thousands of Georgia workers, and we have brought together port truck drivers who have come up from Savannah, Georgia today.
All right. All right. Yeah.
I'll tell you a little bit about what we mean by employee misclassification and what steps the Georgia Senate has taken to rein this abusive employer practice in. Georgia is faced with a serious budget crisis. The Georgia State Unemployment Tax Fund is depleted, resulting in a debt of $1 billion owed to the federal government for related loans. Many industries, including port trucking, construction, and food service, are illegally classifying workers that meet the federal IRS definition of employee as employee contractors, primarily to dodge unemployment and payroll taxes, cheating Georgia's taxpayers and public agencies of much-needed revenue. Two bills introduced in the Senate floor on February 21st, 2014 seek to establish a stricter definition of employee status and more severe penalties for worker misclassification in Georgia. Senate Bill 401, sponsored by Senator Nan Orrock, who's with us today, brings Georgia employment law in line with federal employment laws. Senate Bill 402, sponsored by Senator Minority Leader Steve Henson, introduces fines and company-wide audits for repeating offenders. Misclassified workers are denied bedrock labor protections and workplace benefits, and many are victims of employer wage theft. We're going to have a couple of those workers speak to you today, but before we move to those workers, I'm going to turn it over to a couple senators that are supporting this legislation. First and foremost is Senator Nan Orrock. And Nan, if you could come up. Y'all
All right, yeah. All right.
Thank you very much, brothers and sisters. We're here today to set something right that is very, very wrong. Many of us, I'd say most of us, probably all of us, know members of the workforce, our friends, our family, our fellow churchgoers, our community members who are not being paid according to the laws. That's why we've introduced Senate Bill 401 and 402. People are being paid and reported as independent contractors when in fact they are employees. They are employees who should have taxes paid on them, who should be paid a wage, an hourly wage, and all of which should be reported, and taxes paid to the state government and to the federal government. It's leaving people out here unprotected. It's one more way, as we see this trend continue to grow, it's one more way that the living standards of our working families are under attack. Because you know what happens at the end of the year if that employer follows any kind of law? If you're an independent contractor, you're supposed to get the paperwork from him to file and tells you you've got to pay 100% of all of the federal taxes that he was obligated to pay half of if that employer had paid you properly. So it burdens, it saddles people with debt, it leaves people in the economic shadows, working off the books. It gives massive abuses the opportunity to take root, and there's not a person in the sound of my voice that doesn't know somebody that's being paid like that as a contractor when in fact they are an employee. What our bills do is to state in Georgia law quite specifically what features you have to have in order to be an independent contractor. It goes further with our second bill, authored by primary sponsor Minority Leader Steve Henson in the Senate, and it puts penalties on these bad apples, these employers that want to break the law. They want to break the law, and you know what? The employers that are following the law, that are cutting your paycheck and paying the taxes like they're supposed to do and reporting things above board, they're being damaged by the bad apples who are breaking the law. That's right. Breaking the law. So this is to address address law breaking. This is to bring funds into our state budget. And it's been calculated at millions upon millions. I saw a figure one time, $60 million that should be coming in to our coffers, our state coffers. Now, do we need money? Do we need money to restore the cuts to education? You know, to bring the teachers off of furlough, to give the kids a decent shot at a better education. Right. Do we need money in our budget to meet the needs? We have a crumbling infrastructure that's got a D grade by the Engineering Society. Do we need money in our state budget? Yes, we do. And it's time for these employers that are breaking the law to be called on the carpet. Thank you for what you do, and I appreciate so much the work of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, who has been working in this state and across the country to right this wrong, to change the law, to put penalties in on bad apple employers, and to see that working families and working people get what's due to them. Not the shaft, but a decent paycheck and a chance at a future. Thank you.
Next up, we're going to have a person who's no stranger, as Senator O'Rourke isn't either, supporting workers' rights, supporting all people's rights to justice and fairness and equality. And that's Senator Vincent Fort. Y'all give it up for him here.
As usual, there's very little to add after Nana Rock gets the microphone. Except ditto, ditto, ditto. Everything she said, I agree with. The fact of the matter is, we have in Georgia what amounts to a war on workers. Workers under assault here at the Gold Dome and out on the work site. That's why it's very important that we have these two bills, Senate Bill 401 and 402, sponsored by Senator O'Rourke and Senator Hinton. By the way, Senator Hinton is on the floor of the Senate working even as we speak on a couple of bills that have a direct impact on his district. So he may be here, but I just want to kind of sort of stand in for him and let you know that Senator Hinton brought these bills because he is someone who cares about workers, who understands what it means to have a family in need to earn a living. The fact of the matter is that this is a burden on working families. When you have a worker taking up 100% of the taxes, it is a burden on families. It's taking food out of the mouths of children. It's taking money out of the rent man's check. But also, I just want to emphasize, this is about following the law, doing the right thing. When one employer does this scam, and it's not misclassification so much as it is a scam. It's thievery. But when you have one employer doing the right thing and another employer not doing the right thing, it's taking money away from the tax coffers to finance the things that we need to get done in Georgia. So I'm glad to be here. I really want to thank the Teamsters for organizing, and the AFL-CIO for organizing this event. We're going to push 401 and 402 this session, and if we need to, we'll push it until the job gets done in the future.
Just want to mention that we have State Representative Dewey McClain with us as well today. Always a champion for working people. I want to thank you for attending and others that are here today. I want to turn it over now to some workers who are misclassified right here in Georgia. The port of Savannah is the fourth busiest port in the United States, bringing in billions of dollars of freight in annually, while their port drivers, 1,500 to 2,000 of whom make at or below the minimum wage. When you account for all the expenses that they have to pay for their operating their trucks that their companies require them to pay. So we're here today, and we're going to be hearing from the voices of Sister Carol Colley, and then we're going to hear from a few other drivers. So y'all welcome Carol Colley, port driver from Savannah.
All right.
Thank you everyone. Honestly, we really need these bills to be passed. We've been misclassified for a very long time. We would like to take care of our families the same as everyone else does. We are literally the backbone of this country. We're the backbone of this country.
All right.
The clothes on your back today, I'm sure a truck driver took it to the store. Let us support those clothes too. And I thank you.
Next up, we're going to have a brother named John Jackson. Now, John has participated in strikes at the Port of Savannah.
All right.
Where drivers had no other legal means to gain respect and a voice on the job. So they used the ultimate weapon in the past. And that's something that port drivers have done all around the country. Well, you know, if the Port of Savannah shuts down, it impacts our entire state economy. And it shows you how important port drivers and other misclassified workers are to all of us. So please welcome John Jackson to the mic, and he's going to tell you a little bit of what it's like to be a misclassified driver working for Cal Cartage in Savannah. John?
Yeah!
Yes, good evening, good morning, everyone. Yes, I've been in trucking for 23 years, and it's been a struggle. We support an industry that don't really include us. Everyone has a future in this industry. We got drivers now that's getting sick and getting hurt and just left out there, you know, because they just move on to the next driver. So this is why we fighting for these bills to be passed. So we'll get a voice in that port, be able to afford a decent living like everyone else in this industry. It's just sad that we work every day and we end up living from week to week the way we do. It don't make any sense. We getting hurt now because of the help of all these people, the senators, the Teamsters, and all of you. We are getting the word out now, and we get plenty of help, and we appreciate that very much. Thank you.
The state of Georgia seeks to attack workers like unemployed school workers and blame them for the reason why we don't have a fully funded unemployment fund. They should be looking at the employers that are abusing the system and not paying into the unemployment fund. If you look for revenues in our state, look for the ones that are taking the money from working people for their own benefit. We're going to bring up Gerald Spalding. He's also a port truck driver from Savannah. Gerald, he goes by Hammer, so give it up for Hammer.
Hey, how y'all doing today? My name is Gerald Spalding. I've been a truck driver for 26 years, and just like my colleague said, John, we don't have a voice in this industry right now, but by the help of the Teamsters and the people that back us and support us, we will. And I'd like to thank you for all coming out, and I'd like to say it's going to be a fight for us, but we're going to be there for the long haul. So I appreciate y'all.
ATU support you.
All right, one of our last speakers is a brother who's also from Savannah. He's the president of the Savannah Labor Council. His name is Brett Hume, and he's up here today because he understands how this issue acutely affects communities like his in Savannah, Georgia. Y'all give it up for Brett.
All right, Brett.
Thank you, Ben. And thank you, port truckers, for coming up from Savannah, taking the day off to come lead this fight. And I do mean lead, because this situation is not limited to trucking. It's rampant in the construction industry, the hospitality industry, the entertainment industry. Where can you go and get employment when the boss man says, you be here this time, you go to dinner this time, you take a break at this time, and you can't work for anybody else? But if you get hurt on the job, it's not my problem, because you're an independent contractor. That's the situation that these folks are facing. This is about right and wrong. That's all it is. And by employers engaging in this misclassification, it only fuels the race to the bottom for working people in Georgia, and we've had our fill. We're going up.
Going up.